All right, so here is Angular. I'm going to go over the routing for you. Now, on the right side is the result or the rendered page of this app. I have here kind of similar to what you have, Colin. Yours is right here. I basically kind of copy what you have because it didn't work on my system because of the CSS stuff and the images. But I just want to show you the concept of routing and how it works, right? So yours, if you look in your, let me close this. So the app module should look similar to yours, right? You have your home app component, home, your nav, your about, and your contact, and you have probably more. But this is the same as yours. Nothing changes here. Okay, so you have the routing stuff here. Now, your remember that in Angular you need a root component, a main component. So that is why the app component in this example, in most Angular application, is the root component. It's the overall component that captures or contains every other component. Okay. So the app component, as you can see, has this app component HTML. That's what you see on the right side. Okay, so the image here is this logo up here. I made it so that it's only 100 pixel instead of the 300 small. And then right below that, I put the navigation, just like you had. Yours, I think you put on the top, but it doesn't matter in this case. So I'll put the app nav here, which in this case only shows this 3 links here. Okay, that's what it is. It's just a component. And then I wanted to show here as well, I want to show you that this is the root component. So it will show on every page, right? It doesn't matter where you're at. Whatever you have here will show up on every page. So if you don't want to show up on every page, you take them out, okay? So, but I want to show you that this is how things work. So if I put that here, and if I want to add like the contact page, now in the add contact page, let's see if I have it here, or maybe like the about page. So just very simple, that's kind of like we have. I put H2 instead. So the contact or the about page is here. You have a template for the contact as well. Okay, so back to the root component. And we know that if you want to show something, a component there, we have to literally put that tag there, like you did with that app nav, right? So I can go here and I can say app, I think it's called the contact, yeah, about. That one is going to render the about content right below this root component, as you can see here, right? So these links don't work yet because we didn't do that. Okay, so it's in a root component. If you want to show the other one, the contact, then you do the same thing, add contact. Again, that's the tag. So I have 2 of them, as you can see. So whatever content goes in here will be visible here, and also in addition to the root component is this one and your navigation, right? So if you say, hey, you know what, I don't want to show this root component, you can take that out, and then it doesn't show up there. And you say, I don't want to show all these here. I only show when I click the about, then this page shows up. I click contact, then that shows up, right? And that's what you want, and that's how routers work. Okay, so we don't want that here. I just showed that that works, so we can take this out. Okay, so now nothing shows up there, just the navigation. And now the idea is when you click on home page, it should render the home content. If I click the about, as you can see, the navigation at the top actually works because we already fixed that router pattern. Okay, so nothing shows up here. Now in the routing module, I had what you had. I substituted my in here, but I took out one thing which I don't have. It's the mixed something you have. I forgot what it's called. So we have the components here. Okay, and then we have the pattern. So the home, that's what you see. If I go to home, that's the home here. Contact, it should load the content component, about, and about, right? So these doesn't matter. I can call it X, it doesn't matter, right? It's just the name that you can give. What's important is this actual component. Okay, so this is why it's so cool, because now you have total control of what this URL should look like. But this is usually typical. Okay, so we have those 3 linked there. And then we, so this is working perfectly fine. Now, to make this work, once you have this pattern set up and you have your navigation set up, okay, it loads navigation. The next thing is, where do you render that component? When you click on the home page, where do you render that? Okay, so that is usually you put inside another component, or in this case, you put it right in the root component. Okay, and to make that work, you would have to go and use that router outlet. Okay, and this is an outlet where that component, when you click in the navigation, it's going to render to. Okay, notice that when I save it, it loads that content right there because in the URL I happen to have the home navigation. If I take that out, right, you see there's nothing there because I don't have a pattern that matching the blank URL. So if I go back here again, I only have 3 patterns, either the home, contact, or the about. I didn't have the blank. So if you go here and type in like XYZ, it doesn't work because it does not match that. So therefore, it will render whatever it matches. If it doesn't, then it's going to show whatever is inside this root component. In this case, nothing besides the logo and the nav. Okay, so again, if I put something down here, right, then it will show that there because that's the root component, right? Okay, now if I go and type home, you see that the home content, because the router position location is going to be rendered here above my default text, which is here. Okay, so if you don't want that, you take that out. Maybe if this is the content that shows on every page, you put the footer here, right? If you have a footer component, you put that down there. I don't have it, but would be like copyright and stuff and something like that, right? So that will be your footer component. It shows on every page, and so on. So you can leave it there or throw that into another component and then put app footer or something. Okay, kind of like the nav. So this is what the content is rendered into. Okay, to that router outlet, wherever you place this. If I move up here, if I move above the navigation, it's gonna go up there. Okay, and as you can see, it goes above there, right? And so it works already because I already set that up, right? The contact, you notice that shows that about, home, and so on. So just remember where you place this. Where would you put it? If you put it 2 places, well, it's going to show up in 2 places. See, right? It shows, did it? I thought it's supposed to show 2 places. Did I not save that? Okay, unless maybe I did something wrong, but I thought it's supposed to show in 2 places. Let me see. No, right, no. I was thinking about the component. The component shows in 2 places. If you put 2 components, it does show. So the outlet will show there. I think it goes from top to bottom, I believe. So if you have like a couple of these up here or up here, doesn't matter, right? Okay, it will render on the last one it's found. Okay, from top to bottom. Unless you have a name, sometimes you see they have a name, a special name, to say only home. The only home will render to that page or that location only. But since that's not going to be done here, so okay, so the router is the last one it found on the list if you have a lot of them. But basically, wherever you put it, it will show up there. You may wonder, okay, what if I copy this and put it inside, like if I nested that inside the contact, what happens? I put it here. Okay, so which is if I go to contact, right? Yeah, that doesn't work, right? Because you don't have a again, it loads that from the root component. Okay, so you don't want to do that. This is like a child routing, and that's a little bit different pattern, but you can. We're not gonna go into that yet. That's for like a nested or the child component. Child routing. So basically, at the root page, okay, wherever you put your navigation, and then you need to render this router outlet to show what the content will be rendered into. And you can put that here. You can add another one. Special. Right, another link there. Again, this one here, well, this one doesn't work because I don't have a the link is there, but it doesn't go anywhere, so it should be blank. Okay, there's nothing there yet until I go to the router and say, you know what, add another one, and it's called special. So you go here again, you add that in here, and then special. But then before you do that, you need to, you know, create a special component. But again, let's just say that I'm going to load the maybe the home component, right? When I click on special, it's going to load the home component. And again, it doesn't matter which component you load, right? If there's one, then there's one. If there's none, you won't work. So if I click on the home, it shows the home content. If I go contact, as special, it also loads the home. Okay. So another one you want to do is, let's say, what if you don't put a blank, right? If you put blank, you can say, if it's blank, you can default to this. Let's just say this is your landing page or wherever, right? So you can put that here as well. You can add one here and put it blank. So by default, if it's blank, then you can say, oh, and if it's blank, then take the user to the home page. Okay, if you do that, then now it loads the home page by default. Okay, and if you don't want that, then just take it out, and it will load whatever you have in the root component, which is the app component. Okay, so that is about routing. All your patterns here. And then now notice that you usually separate into a routing module. You could have everything in, you know, your add module. You can put it here if you want, right? It's not really nice because it's all jumbled up together one file, so it's not good. That's why we separate the router out into its own routing module, like you have up here. Okay, so it's easier to maintain and manage that way. But you could have it all here if you want. And so that's how routing works. Okay? And if you have any questions, again, just let me know and see how it goes. And I hope you are able to resolve your problem, issues. Thank you.